Doma Sports Talk Worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now, took a few days off because there ain't really nothing happening, in boxing. Jai Opataya, handled his business in the cruiserweight division. Seems to be the baddest one there in the cruiserweight, so he can't really do nothing. Let's hope he can either become undisputed or at least go for it. Because the Opataya is one of the baddest ones there. Let's see what happens in that cruiserweight division right before he goes up to heavyweight. You want to get some legacy, before you go a lot of times, instead of moving up in weight before handling your business. You want to do something there, maybe become undisputed, because now people have done it. The Terrence Crawfords, the Inouis, and the Alexander Usyks of the world have shown that it's possible. So I think people are, willing to do it right now. But other news, Devin Haney is the main man in boxing right now, and rightfully so. Because Devin Haney, I call him the living legend. A lot of people are calling him Debo, Dev, and things. He's getting these accolades and these monikers, and they're deserving, all of them, even Debo, because this is not just recently. You're talking about a guy who was undisputed at lightweight. You're talking about a guy of 20 years old that was calling Lomachenko Nomachenko, and that's when Lomachenko was Lomachenko. Actually, he even made Lomachenko take the franchise title instead of just beating him when he was Lomachenko's mandatory. Just that alone, if Lomachenko is as good as we say he is, there shouldn't have been anyone doing that. Just that alone, if you stop there, right? That would have been pretty awesome. Wow, this 20-year-old is calling Lomachenko out, right? Making Lomachenko fight Teofimo Lopez for the franchise title. With the franchise title, don't let me get started about how egregious that was. Everyone knows that was just a title that your boy Mauricio Sulaiman, the head of WBC, made for Canelo, so Canelo wouldn't fight Jamal Charlo. That's why I personally call it the Charlo belt. Jamal Charlo doesn't exist. If Canelo Alvarez's mandatory was Yildirim or something like that, then we would have never had no franchise title. And then to bring a belt, he said it's not a belt, it's just some kind of title, and he couldn't even give you think about it. They come out with a belt and couldn't even give you an explanation of what the hell it was. We give it to somebody who's did significant things in boxing. And then Jamal Charlo said, well, whatever belt Canelo has, I want to fight for that. And then they say, well, no, you can't. It's not transferable. We're just giving it to him. Then they exalted that belt over their normal belt because Canelo had it. Just right in daylight, right? So, Lomachenko was given that belt because he asked for that belt so he didn't have to fight Devin Haney. Now, who would ask for a belt like that that's not really even a belt? And then they start calling Lomachenko fights Teofimo Lopez in a fight that they just lied to us and said it was more lucrative than him and Devin Haney. It wasn't. But if you tried to put an undisputed title on there, and it wasn't, because the real belt was Devin Haney. So in daylight, they called Devin Haney the email champion because he got the real belt. And those guys fighting for franchise, Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko, that was supposed to be the real thing. Now, that belt that they just said was not transferable was transferable. They transferred it to Teofimo Lopez. Again, in daylight. So, if Lomachenko's mandatory wasn't Devin Haney, it was Luke Campbell, we wouldn't have had that situation. So, yeah, Debo Dev. So, Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez goes on to lose to your boy Kambosos. Devin Haney is way better than Kambosos, but he has to go to Australia twice for a fraction of the money that Kambosos was getting paid, even though he was more decorated than Kambosos, actually. But okay, and what happens? He beats Kambosos twice, convincingly. So he became undisputed lightweight champion, the youngest one in history. So what does he do? Not rest on his laurels. He goes up to 140 and beats the boogeyman at 140 pounds of Regis Prograis. Beats the brakes off of Regis Prograis. Made Regis Prograis look like no one else ever did. Right? Does that. Ain't really no smoke at 140. Teofimo's still tripping. So he goes up to 147 and beats the boogeyman in Brian Norman and beats him convincingly. Now, in between there, he had that pit stop with who we're going to talk about, Ryan Garcia, somebody who was doped to the gills, not just a little doped, to the gills doped, right? Now, he loses to Ryan Garcia. In a close fight, he was down a few times against a dope fighter who also missed weight by 3.5 pounds. All these boxers and all these shows out here that won't just talk about that. Leave the dope out. A fighter fights and doesn't have to make weight versus one that has to make weight. That's already a mismatch. People don't focus on that. Just do a whole show on that. That's why there's weight class. That's why people make weight and they don't. That's already a disadvantage for Devin Haney. He's weaker than the other guy, just from that. But if you put dope to the gills on top of it, then it's a mismatch. No matter what you're talking about, oh, well, the left hook, it doesn't help him show the left hook. Yes, it does, because a normal guy that's not on drugs is probably going to get tired, and that's not going to be, left hook's not going to be that powerful or that fast. And here's another thing. What you're going to probably be scared to get in position because of what's coming back if you're not full on drugs and those damn stimulants and stuff like that, which gives you confidence, right? We forget about that. It gives you confidence as well. So that's what that did. And it was an obvious situation, right? Dude, totally dope. So that's what's up with Ryan Garcia. So now, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney is, the main man at welterweight, and Ryan Garcia, he loses to Rolly Romero without no drugs, right? Comes back, loses, right? Remember this, loses to Rolly Romero, right? Unceremoniously. And his next fight, he gets a championship fight against the weakest guy at 147 pounds in Barrios, right? No slight to Barrios, but, at the time, let's be honest, everybody knows that, right? The weakest guy. Why is it you can lose a fight, you're doped, then lose with no dope, come back, and I'm not sure he took vital testing for that fight with Barrios, comes back, beat Barrios, and first of all, gets the title shot. After you lose to damn Rolly Romero, that's it for you. You work your way back. That didn't happen. They gave it to him. A la Lomachenko, who lost in his second fight, I think it was, to Orlando Solido, and got a championship fight in his third fight again, so they can say, hey, he's the quickest one to get a championship, right? He wasn't supposed to. After losing to Solido unceremoniously, the dude had 13 losses, he's supposed to rematch that, maybe, right? But then be able to go and get a title from somewhere else in the very next fight, in the third fight. That's almost like Manny Pacquiao being an 8th division champion that everybody regurgitates. Manny Pacquiao, yeah, because no one wants to just go down the list and see if Manny Pacquiao really is an 8th division champion. I keep counting 6. And on a day when I ain't feeling so good, then it's 5. But we're going to give him 6. The reason why is because we don't count IBO and IBA titles. We don't. And if you're going to really be giving people credit for weight divisions, then damn it, they should go all the way up to the weight divisions. We don't give credit for catch weights because we're really going to say he's done something that others done. It's already not fair to people that fought before him that didn't have all of these divisions, right? There were only a few divisions. We got 17 of them now. Back in the day, there was about 9, 8. What? Lightweight, welterweight, middleweight, light heavy, and heavy. That's 5. Then maybe go down one more, maybe bantam or something. That's it, about 6. We got 17 now, so you have the opportunity. So my point is, then go all the way up to the damn weight when it's 17. You know what I mean? That's why, if you pay attention, 8th division ain't right neither, right? That's about 6, but anybody don't want to say nothing about it, right? And all these people. So here's the deal, what I'm trying to say. All this stuff I done saw, if you still here. Ryan Garcia doesn't deserve no damn Devin Haney fight. Ryan Garcia has to earn a Devin Haney fight. Devin Haney is your majesty, and you're not, right? No matter what these boxing things, I see that, Devin Haney was on this Max Kellerman show, stuff that's going on, Ring Magazine, right? I haven't watched it all, but those shows, they give you the illusion of that they're talking facts all the time. They'll say dumb stuff, like talking about Ryan Garcia, like he's done something, right? Or stuff they say, like Max will say something to me, like one time they just tune him out. Canelo will fight everybody. That's an insult to the Jamal Charlos and Demetrius Andrades of the world that were with him at every damn weight class he was, and they just openly avoided these guys, even for Undisputed. You understand? Undisputed at the same damn promotional company. So we'll sit back and say he fought everybody, and that's exactly the opposite. You know, but did it in daylight, so with the voice that you just think, well, that sounds like he's talking the truth. That's not accurate. So it irks people that know what the hell is going on. It's not fair to a Demetrius Andrade. You know what I mean? So again, Ryan Garcia needs to earn a fight with Your Majesty, right? Shouldn't give him. So let Your Majesty fight Rolly Romero, the guy who beat Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia does something significant in the meantime, right? And Conor Ben is not significant enough. But okay, do something in the meantime to earn a Devin Haney fight. And listen, people out here that's doing uploading and talking and stuff, don't be afraid to say that. Ryan Garcia, just because he's, that social media stuff and beating Barrios doesn't mean he's worthy of fighting Devin Haney. Not now. You were doped and got beat with no drugs. Two things you want to hear is Ryan Garcia goes and fights someone significant and great, right? And 24/7 VADA testing like Devin Haney does. That's why he's Your Majesty. 24/7. So we know he's not on drugs. Can we say that for the rest of you? That's why. They're calling him whatever the name. I know people pissed off they call him Debo. That's Debo-ish. I ain't on drugs. I'm 24/7. They can come any damn time and test me. Who else? We don't even know if other people are doing it before fights. You know what I'm saying? Pretty awesome. So Your Majesty, or the living legend, Devin Haney, is the top guy. Ryan Garcia, if he can stay clean, 24/7 VADA testing, then you can earn a fight with Your Majesty. Y'all got that? Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm out of here, y'all.